first got into real estate as a real estate agent, as a professional, there were so many things about the nuances of this career that you don't learn while you're getting your real estate license. And I have had some really humbling lessons along the way in the thousands of transactions that I've been a part of in my dozen years of being in this in this profession. There's one that really sticks out to me, and I had to learn a really big lesson. So for those of you that know me, you know this about me. I am pretty darn competitive by nature. And I'm pretty much convinced that I convince people of what I want them to know. It just is part of who I am. And I was going to meet with this couple, and I didn't know any. I was young in my career. There are things I know now to do before I go and meet with somebody about selling their house that I didn't know back then. But here's where I started to learn. It was on this appointment right here. So I'm all professional and I'm ready to go, and I go and sit in the living room with this couple. And from the beginning, especially now looking back, from the beginning, something was off. And I just couldn't pinpoint what it was. The energy was off. The energy was off in the room. And I just blew past it. And I started just really kind of verbally vomiting on this couple about how great I was and what I was going to do to sell their house and how I was going to make them all this money and how they were so lucky to work with me. And on and on and on I went. I mean, looking back, really, it makes me just want to cringe thinking about how I was showing up that day and really how I was showing up at that time in my career, really very young in my career. I thought I had to sell myself. I thought I had to convince people of why I was the best. And because I am competitive, I wanted to win. I didn't want anybody else to get the listing. The couple was older than me, probably by about 20 years. They were very gracious, much more probably gracious than I would have been at the time if roles were reversed. But they elected not to work with me. And they cared enough about me though to give me some pointers. See, what I didn't take the time to do was ask them questions and then listen to their story. I didn't ask them the most important question you can ever ask the seller, and that's this: tell me why you're selling. See, this couple, they had just lost their son, and they had just lost their son to self-inflicted death in the home. They weren't happy about selling. They were grief-stricken. Their lives literally were in shambles at their feet. And here I come, and instead of making it about them and holding really sacred my opportunity to be a tiny part of their story and to help them go from point A to point B and offer comfort and direction and expertise and professionalism. I made it about me and how awesome I was and why they were lucky to work with me and how I was just going to make them all this money. Do you think they cared about how much money they made? They didn't. They needed a professional who was kind, who knew what she was doing, who was humble-hearted, and who was willing to listen to them, to help them be a part of what was happening in their lives at that time. I've never forgotten that appointment. I've never forgotten that couple. I've never forgotten that story. And since then, the lesson that I've taken away is twofold. One, it's my job as a real estate professional to listen to your story, to listen to the reasons, to listen to the experiences, to make it about the seller, not about me as the agent. And number two is compassion always wins, and to be kind, and it was that day, that experience, that I really realized that not every seller is selling because of a happy occasion. I'm so glad I learned that lesson, because now in my business, I am honored and privileged when a seller says, yes, Deborah, we want to work with you and your team. I don't take that lightly. I don't add it as a notch in my belt or a win or whatever it is. It's an opportunity to serve, and it is really cool and really amazing, really humbling, and really a privilege to be a part of somebody's story in this way. Huge lesson I'll never forget it.